Picture this. You are standing at the end of a dirt road in the hills north of Los Angeles. It is 7 in the morning. It is quiet. And then you smell it. Before you even see the property, before the gates open, neighbors say you can smell it from 2 streets away. The officers arrive. They put on masks. They open the gate. And what they walk into, nobody was prepared for. What they found inside, Lake Hughes, California. A remote property on 266th Street West in the hills north of Los Angeles County. On the surface, it was registered as an animal rescue. Rock and Paws Animal Rescue, a place that was supposed to save animals. But neighbors had been complaining for years. The smell, the noise. It sounds like the world's biggest dog fight, one neighbor told reporters. Another said, the odor is horrific. There's no septic system, no dumpsters for months. Verified. DAC official statement. On March 20th, 2026 at 7 a.m., the Los Angeles County Department of Animal Care and Control served a search warrant for violations of animal welfare laws. More than 70 officers and staff responded. What they found: 316 animals, 250 dogs, 66 cats, living in overcrowded, filthy, dangerous conditions. 316 animals, dogs in cages stacked on top of each other, dogs that had never been walked, dogs with untreated wounds, cats barely able to move. DAC Director Marcia Maeda said publicly, "This is the largest number of dogs and cats that DAC has ever seized, and may be the largest case ever in the United States. The largest in United States history, on a property that called itself a rescue." 2. The system breaks. The kennels don't appear magically. Within hours, 5 of the 7 Los Angeles County animal shelters were receiving animals. The Downey Animal Care Center alone took in 100 animals in a single day. And here is where the story gets darker. Those 316 rescued animals, they were now being held as evidence in an ongoing investigation, which meant they could not be adopted, which meant they could not be moved, which meant the shelters were full, and the regular shelter dogs had nowhere to go. LA County received 250 dogs and a lot of cats on Friday. So in order to make room for those animals, the kennels don't appear magically. They start to euthanize the animals that are currently at their shelters. Read that again. To make room for the dogs that were saved, other dogs were going to be killed. Healthy dogs. Dogs that had done nothing wrong. Dogs that were simply already there. It was a crisis inside a crisis, and the clock was ticking for every single one of them. 3. The mission, one phone call. On Monday, March 23rd, rescue groups across Los Angeles received an urgent message from the shelters. We need help, now. Puppies and their mothers are most at risk. If we cannot move them, we cannot save them. Alex Tonner, CEO of Paws for Life Canine Rescue, made one call to Wings of Rescue. We took 116 dogs in total, she said, and we were able to call Wings of Rescue and put this flight together. On a dark tarmac at Van Nuys Airport, in the middle of the night, 116 dogs were loaded onto a plane. One by one, each in their own carrier. Some tagged with the words, anti-cruelty, as if they carried their own story, written on the outside of the box they had been placed in. 4. Landing Tuesday afternoon, Gary, Indiana. The plane landed. Waiting on the tarmac, volunteers, vets, Paws Chicago staff. Every single person there because of one phone call made the night before. 42 dogs went directly to Paz Chicago's medical center. The rest were distributed to rescue partners across the Chicago area. Juliana Rancic was on the tarmac in Chicago to receive the dogs, personally loading carriers into vans. She called the mission incredible and close to her heart. She warned that without the flight, these animals faced euthanasia. Alex Tonner watched the engine start while doing a live interview. She could barely finish her sentence. "It's so exciting," she said. "It makes me smile." 116 dogs. One night. One flight. All of them alive. What this means. Right now, more than 200 dogs and cats from Lake Hughes are still sitting in Los Angeles shelters, still held as evidence, still waiting, still needing a home. This story is not over, but here is what we know today. On March 20th, 316 animals were found living in conditions no living thing should ever have to survive. By March 24th, over 70 officers had responded. 7 shelters had opened their doors. 1 rescue group had chartered a plane, and 116 dogs had touched down safely in a city that was ready to take them home. The largest animal seizure in United States history. And the response that followed was just as historic. Because when you cannot speak, someone always has to.